For me, beauty is authenticity, realness, the realness of life. That's for me beautiful. Beauty is like devotion, it's patience, it's relating to something with devotion, with care, with presence. I'm Suzanne, I'm from the Netherlands. I work as a doula and Ayurvedic practitioner and a fertility nutritionist. I came into this work because of my own health issues 10 years ago or 11 years ago. I was diagnosed with an autoimmune disease, and Ayurveda is one of the practices that helped me to heal the autoimmune disease that I was coping with. The female body has been repressed. Now we're waking up to this idea of what femininity and the female body is like kind of capable of creating, of birthing in life. Through my work, I'm connecting to that female power. I see these women birthing new life. I see women in their raw power. Menstruation has been shamed by the society that I grew up in. Even I remember as a 25-year-old that I didn't even want to have my period because it was kind of bothering me, because I thought, oh my gosh, I don't want to bleed. Yeah, it's kind of, it like hurts somewhere in my body, like thinking back about that period of my life that I was so disconnected to my femininity, my power, that I even want to sacrifice my period because of my skin. My skin looked better on birth control. However, now, after 10 years connecting with my cycle, I just see that the whole female cycle is kind of supporting us in the projects that we want, in the way we relate to people. For example, in our menstruation phase, progesterone, estrogen, all these hormones are dropping, which makes us more internally focused, more reflective. Even a few days before our period, we tap in so much to our own intuition. 2 days before my period, I always have a dream that is some sort of premonition. So then I know, okay, my period is coming. The week before we menstruate, the veil between the seen and the unseen is dissipating in a way. And the more we can connect with that, we can source so much information and knowing in that week if we really want to connect with ourselves. How women feel about birth, there is still a lot of fear about that rite of passage, because we haven't seen any examples in the media or in our culture or society in general where it feels very empowering to birth new life. So even how hospitals, OBs and pediatricians talk about this rite of passage, I mean, they don't even recognize it as a rite of passage because it's seen as a medical affair. And just all the respect, to all the medical doctors out there. I feel that indigenous heritage, this indigenous wisdom that most of these tribes in Americas, for example, holds, it would be beautiful if we could merge these two. Yes, have Western science there, but never forget the deeper meaning of life, which is our connection to the sacred. And the more we connect to the sacred, the more healthy our society will become. I would like to read a little bit from the book Women's Bodies, Women's Wisdom from Christiana Northrup. She is referring to the founding fathers of Western science and Western medicine. He's kind of, the first person that developed an encyclopedia. And he writes about the female cycle, about menstruation. And it was when I was reading this, it was just, in a way, heartbreaking, but also an eye-opener at the same time. I thought, okay, this is the culture that I've been raised in that shaped my perception of my own power and of my own femininity. Menstruation is the ultimate manifestation of our female self. More female you cannot get. And the fact that this is the foundation of my culture, because I'm from Europe, is it's an eye-opener. So this man writes down in this encyclopedia, which is called Natural History, but nothing could easily be found that is more remarkable than the monthly flux of women. Contact with it turns new wine sour, crops touched by it become barren, seeds in gardens dry up, the fruit of trees falls off. So this is how he viewed the female cycle. And this is where our like Western foundation is shaped and formed. And I'm already referring to the word vagina, what it means. It comes from Latin, you know, sheath of the sword. In relation to the masculine, it's all described in relation to the masculine. That's why I love Ayurveda and the new like terminology that I've come across with, for example, yoni. I was first triggered like by the word yoni because I thought it was this a new hype to call our vagina yoni. However, looking more deeper into the meaning of vagina and yoni means gateway to life. How much power does that word hold? Should we not like all tell our like little girls that they need to talk about their yoni because they have gateways to life there instead of sheath of swords, right? So that's really my like truly wish, all these new beings coming into this world that can connect with their female organs in a more like sacred and empowering way. Talking about the female body and our power, I feel the first moment our power can be compromised or can be supported is when we really enter literally into this world. How our mothers are supported during labor. Is she witnessed? Is she acknowledged in her power? And are we as care providers believing truly in her wisdom, in her power? Are we honoring her? Is that how the baby is coming into this world? Or are we making it a medical affair where like everything needs to be checked because you never know what a female body is going to do during labor? Babies have a consciousness. From the moment we are conceived, we are receiving information and that stays in our field. So the first moment I feel like my mom, for example, was in the hospital. She was induced. So the first thing was already we don't trust her natural oxytocin to do the work because that's how labor starts. Then afterwards, of course, like we have the whole society going on of how you need to look as a woman, how you need to act, that you always need to be sweet and kind and gentle. And I'm all about like grace and gentleness. However, like sometimes being firm in what we believe in and standing our ground needs to be accepted as well from a woman. So I think it's in all of these little rite of passages. Like, is your mom celebrating when you get your first menstruation? Is she like sharing with you that it's one of your most powerful gifts that you have, that you're bleeding? It's not a sin, it's not something to be ashamed of. I feel the society, or like where we are in right now, where the collective is at right now, I feel we're like in this premenstrual phase, you know? We're like in this subconscious, in this, I mean, they call it the dark. However, I see more and more people like waking up to like finding deeper truths within them, like a deeper knowing. I feel like people saying like, oh my gosh, I've rejected or ignored my needs or like my intuition, you know? All these women that are now coming off birth control pill and they're suddenly like connecting with their cycle and getting all of these insights, you know, without doing anything, without just bleeding. I feel we're very in the subconscious right now, in the dark, kind of in the new moon phase, when the veil is indeed like becoming thinner and thinner and the truths are becoming more and more clear. Our intuition is becoming more clear, what we need, what our bodies need, what we believe in becomes more clear. And also what we don't want to compromise for, or what we don't want to sacrifice. Because ultimately, if we're sacrificing our body, sacrificing our spirit, we're sacrificing maybe our next life. I mean, I truly believe in that every like single action in this life will ripple out into immediately right now into the unseen realms, but also like into our next life. We need to be diligent, you know, we need to be careful what we're deciding and what we're choosing for our like beings.